Hello, hello, people. This is Leroy Moore again, and I want to continue our talk around state violence against people with disabilities, especially Black disabled people. This is my second video I'm doing around this issue. Like I said in the first video, usually I don't do solo videos. Usually, we do, Black Disabled Men Talk with Keith Jones and Lakeith McLeod and Otis Smith. So we do it together and we talk it through. But I want to continue because I'm just tired of not seeing our issues anywhere when it comes to state violence against Black people, against people of color, really Black people. Being Black and disabled, and being a community scholar, a researcher, I know that the state abuse goes back a long, long way on Black disabled bodies. From slavery, and we all know the history of slavery when it comes to disability. We were thrown overboard, killed, if you were not, quote unquote, able bodied. So that's under slavery. When slavery ended, we were still living on plantations of Black disabled people under charity of slave masters. After that, of course, we had, Jim Crow. And people don't realize that Jim Crow was a real person. He was a Black disabled elder that got robbed by his identity. And that started the whole minstrel shows from a Black disabled elder. But we don't talk about the real person. We just write books about Jim Crow, the new Jim Crow. Yeah, I like the book, but once again, disability is not in the book, which makes no sense. Because if you're talking about Jim Crow in prison, you need to talk about Black disabled people in prison. Especially if you're talking about the school to prison pipeline. Because we all know in 2020 that pipeline is going directly into special education. And who's in special education? Mainly Black boys with disabilities and, Black women with disabilities too. So why are so-called Black scholars are not talking about Black disabled people in the school to prison pipeline? And you know me. I've been around police brutality since 1989. So, to see it come and go, you can see the other video. But why today in 2020, we still don't see our leaders, our movements, our scholars talk about the high number of Black disabled people getting killed by police? The number out there is 50%, but I say it's higher. I say it's 70% if you include all people with disabilities, people that have autism. It's higher. It's not only, people with mental health disabilities. And let's get this correct. Autism is not mental health. A lot of mainstream journalists get that wrong. So, Krip-Hop did a movie called Where's Hope. We did a CD back in 2016, around police brutality with disabilities. So why is we are here in 2020 and still only a group of us are talking about state abuse against people with disabilities? With this COVID-19, we've seen group homes, nursing homes get ravaged with this virus, and it's hitting Black and brown, disabled elders, disabled youth in these group homes. We see gentrification. I used to live in San Francisco, used to be on the mayor's commission on disability. I saw the city take up benches so you could not sit down. So now you have a lot of Black disabled elders that are houseless, that can't sit down. And if they sit down, they get a ticket. Now we see cages in San Francisco, in around the country. Poor Magazine, myself, went to Tennessee and saw cages on sidewalks. Isn't that against accessibility laws? Isn't that against the ADA? They have cages on sidewalks. Now they have them in San Francisco. So once again, our laws, ADA access laws, are being ripped up right in front of us. That's affecting a lot of Black and brown disabled elders, men, but we don't talk about that because it's not pretty. Black disabled poor people is not pretty. It's not a Ford Foundation grant. And we see that there's a lot of talk and a lot of education on, police violence against transgender people. And, I'm all for it. But why are we skipping people with disabilities? When 70% of all cases of police shootings are people with disabilities. Why hasn't there been a study that's controlled by Black and brown disabled people on this issue? Why every presidential candidate, this presidential election had a disability platform, but very few talked about police brutality against people with disabilities. And if they did, it was very general and did not cut it down to Black disabled people. Why has ADOS and all these new movements don't talk about Black disabled lives? Don't talk about that Black disabled women have 98% unemployment rate. And that's going back to the 80s. Why are we not talking about the continuation of state violence, from lynching to incarceration to police brutality against people with disabilities? Remember James Byrd in Texas that got dragged in Texas? That was a lynching. He had a disability. So we continue not to talk about it. We continue not to have programs about it. We continue when there's an uprising, you know, disabled organizations do a petition, but they don't include programs that could talk about police brutality against people with disabilities. And that's going into organizational structures. That's how you change it. You change the organization. But we don't do that. We just have a petition. You know, we just say, hey, sign this petition. We might have a panel, and that's it. 2020. This is my second video around this. And I had to make it because I was seeing more videos talking about everything else except people with disabilities and people that are houseless. Those are the two things we never talk about. But those are the two things that have the highest police brutality cases. It's houses, Black and brown disabled people. But we don't talk about it. We need to stop it, dude. Yeah, we need to stop it. We need to make inroads into these organizations. It's like it's time for you to do some programs. Black organizations, disabled organizations, it's time for you to take up this cause. 2020. I'm 52 years old. Been protesting against state violence since 1989. Come on, people. We must do better than this. For the next generation of Black and brown disabled youth. So we can, well, I say, come back home to the Black community, because we can't now. Because the Black ableism is so high in the Black community. Black ableism is discrimination toward your Black and disabled brothers and sisters. Not seeing disability as a political and cultural issue. Only seeing disability as a service or something to hide. That's ableism. That's pushing out your brother and sister from your community, so he doesn't have the community to come back to. As a matter of fact, you know, Black and brown disabled people have to do that when it comes to services. We have to go outside our community. So don't make us go outside our community just to find ourselves because of Black ableism. I wrote about Black ableism on Krip-Hop.com. Read about it, Black community. And let's talk about state violence against Black disabled people. And let's go all the way back to slavery. Because we got a lot to learn. And we got a lot to teach you. It's 2020. Think about it. Peace.